The electron and the proton of a hydrogen atom are separated, on average, by a distance of about 5.3 times 10 to the negative 11 meters. Find the electric and the gravitational force that each particle exerts on each other. Now there are two questions here. The first one says go find the electric force, and so that's force of electric. The second one says go find the gravitational, so that's F sub g. So there's two problems here. But they were nice enough to give us some information in the beginning. And so if we're going to solve force electric first, let's add some things that we know. For example, we know that the distance between the proton to the electron equals 5.3 times 10 to the negative 11 meters. The other thing that we know, if we're going to start with force electric, is Coulomb's constant equals 8.99 times 10 to the 9. The thing that we're looking for is force electric, and that is question mark, and that's going to be in newtons. And we're going to use Coulomb's law. Force electric equals Kc times Q1, Q2 over distance squared. So I don't know what Fe is, but I do know that Kc is 8.99 times 10 to the 9. And I can multiply it. The first is the charge on the proton is 1.60 times 10 to the negative 19. I'm going to multiply that by negative 1.60 times 10 to the negative 19. That's the charge of an electron. All of that quantity over the distance, which is 5.3 times 10 to the negative 11, but that quantity is going to be squared. Alright, so I'm going to solve the top and the bottom of the parentheses first. So 8.99 times 10 to the 9. And if I solve the top, I get 2.56 times 10 to the negative 38, and that's a negative number, over 2.809 times 10 to the negative 21. Next, I'm going to solve the parenthesis. 8.99 times 10 to the 9 times 9.11356356 times 10 to the negative 18. And so I get a force electric equals 8.1930936 to 8 times 10 to the negative 8 newtons. So if I write that nice, it's going to be 8.19 times 10 to the negative 8 Newton, or 8.19, whoops, ooh, golly, negative E, negative 8 newtons. Now I can solve for gravity. I still know that the distance between protons to electrons is 5.3 times 10 to the negative 11 meters. But now, since I'm doing gravity, I'm going to use Newton's law of gravitation, and that is 6.673 times 10 to the negative 11th. The thing that I'm looking for is force due to gravity. That's going to be in newtons. And Newton's law of gravity says that that's g times mass 1, mass 2 over distance squared. So my force due to gravity equals, I'm going to replace 6.673 times 10 to the negative 11th for G. And then the quantity, my first mass, the mass of a proton, is 1.673 times 10 to the negative 27, and I'm going to multiply that by 9.109 times 10 to the negative 31, and those are in kilograms. That's the mass of the electron. Now I'm going to divide by 5.3 times 10 to the negative 11, but once again, that quantity is squared. Well, the force due to gravity, I'm going to solve the top and the bottom of the parentheses first. So I'm going to rewrite this, and when I solve the top, I get an answer of 1.5239357 times 10 to the negative 57. And then when I take the square of the bottom, I get a number I've seen before, but it's 2.809 times 10 to the negative 21st. So now I can solve the parenthesis, and I get 5.425189.391 times 10 to the negative 37. And then finally, I get a force due to gravity of 3.6220288881 times 10 to the negative 47 newtons. And if I were to write that, it'd be 3.62 times 10 to the negative 47 newtons, or 3.62 e negative 47 newtons.